everyone. I am super pumped for this episode because we are talking about systems, the best of the best have systems in place or one particular system. And we're talking about coaching. The best of the best also have coaches. And I think one of the best of the best who does both of these is with us, Stacie Peterson from eXp Realty. Hi, Stacie.
Hi.
I'm so glad to have you with us, and I cannot wait to pick your brain and all of your experiences with what you do. But first, let's start. What drives your day each and every day?
It really is to help agents build the business and life that they want. I think there's tons of examples you can follow, lots of books. Sometimes people like to put every agent in the same box. And I love to help agents build what they want completely, 100% dream it up. Let's do the plan and create it.
I love that. And you in your career as a realtor, you've sold thousands of properties. But what I find just as admirable, if not more, is that you've helped hundreds or thousands of agents doing what you just did, really customizing a plan to what works for them.
Yeah, yeah. It's one thing to sell houses and, hopefully you're good at that or good enough. And then it's another thing to help other agents sort of duplicate that and, like I said, create the financial freedom that they want, create the lifestyle that they want, and, ultimately have something at the end of it, like a true business.
Yeah, their very own business. So when you transitioned from kind of buying and selling, helping people buy and sell property into this coaching and being a business guidance counselor, so to speak, in many ways, and thinking outside the box, what you do, and we'll get into that more too. What helped you kind of get into this too? Because real estate isn't just about buying and selling homes, it's about helping others who then help their clients. And so you're still serving the greater good.
Yeah. I really started to get into coaching. So after I hired my first coach, I realized that it was such a unique, I'd never heard I've heard of coaches, but I didn't really necessarily know who they were for, what they did. How would they know how to sell real estate in my area? And then
Hmm.
once I understood the process, knew what I liked, knew what I didn't, I really enjoyed helping my team members grow. So it was a slow process. It wasn't overnight, but really helping my team members grow and took more of a holistic approach into that, such as, hey, how do you set boundaries for family time? How do you have a household budget? Like things that you're definitely not getting probably from your brokerage necessarily. And so just kind of creating those things for the team. And then I realized, man, I really love pouring into the people around me and giving of knowledge freely from all the things I'm attending, doing, reading. So that it just really kind of spurred this thought of, oh my gosh, you could coach other agents and really help them.
That is so cool and admirable and rewarding too, personally, but also for them to see their successes along the way. You brought up a
Yeah.
lot of points in there, and I want to tap into those. But one, you are, and kind of like what you just said, bringing in this wealth of knowledge. You are connected with a lot of the top producers throughout the entire country. What are there certain things or one thing that you see that is common with all of them?
I would say just the desire to build a true business. So, a lot of top producers get to a point where they're just starting to burn out. Either their goals are too big and they don't know how to hit them, or their systems are too small. So, every wheel is falling off, but they know that it can be done better. And so, it's sort of I think it's like their innate need to do better creates this awesome synergy for them to have a coach. And so I see that trait in a lot of them. And it's not like they were um, maybe the top salesman always, right? Like everybody gets to a point where they hit these different ceilings, but
Mhm.
continually I think they work through those ceilings and they sort of don't let the business get them down. They decide like a business owner, okay, what needs to be done, what's for the health of the business, what's for the health of my clients, what's for the health of me. And so that's definitely a common thread I think that weaves between all of them.
I think so too. That's a great analogy of all of that and weaving it. And it's truly comes down to a mindset of just always wanting to not necessarily do better, but be more productive, maybe be more efficient, but always striving for something more rather than settling. Because, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, you hit those plateaus. It's kind of like weightlifting. You hit a plateau and you're not going to get over that until you do a little bit more or do it
Yeah,
differently. Maybe sometimes you have to make adjustments on the fly too.
that's
What,
right.
are there any success stories that just stick out in your head of maybe somebody who just said, I don't even know where to go, what to do. And then now they are just kicking some tail.
Yeah, I think I can think of this one client who had been actually successful building many other businesses. And so she had built, I mean, like unique businesses
Mhm.
and really innovative for her time. Like she was creating things that weren't, that are lifestyle now, but weren't back then.
Mm,
And we're not talking like 50 years ago, we're talking like 15. And
yeah.
so she was really great at that. And so she partnered with another top agent and they did business very differently. And so when you have different kinds of personalities and business styles, sometimes that's hard to mesh. So we really worked through that. And ultimately, she ended up like finding her wings. It's like she found her own niche. She wasn't going to conform to how, the other one did business and the other one wasn't going to conform to her. And so ultimately, they ended up not staying a team, but she, the one I'm referring to, really flourished. And I don't think she could have done that without kind of having this, third party that's not attached to their business to help them through different transitions and thoughts instead of we can get stuck. If we're the only one filtering our business through our own head, that is like a recipe for disaster because
Hmm.
we'll let ourselves off the hook. We are not like non-bias and we don't have the wherewithal to look in like a board of directors and say, okay, these things don't make sense. We're never going to get to where you want to go. You can set every goal in the world, you're never going to get there. And so that is like one of my fate and they both were amazing to work at with and but the one really just found like her wings and it was so fun to watch, not always easy, so fun though.
That's really cool. And that, wisdom is the ability to see the bigger picture.
Mm,
And as we talked about at the top of the show, the best of the best, they have a lot of talents to bring to the table, but having that wisdom to see that bigger picture, you need somebody from the outside to come in because
yeah,
otherwise you just, like you mentioned, you get stuck in your tunnel.
yeah, and some of them are destined to be the best, whatever the best is for
Mhm.
them, but they won't be unless they have someone that can kind of help them see through.
You made a huge statement right there. The best of who they are. I'm paraphrasing what you said, but
Yep.
as realtors across the board, new, seasoned, doesn't matter, we tend to compare ourselves to others in our market or across the country. And that,
Mhm.
as a coach, is that a mistake? Because that means then we're not focusing on what we bring to the table and our best versions of ourselves.
It can be like, I think it's always good to see. I mean, I'm a huge, like, I also get caught in the comparison trap. I
Mhm.
think we all do. How can we not? Right. Especially with
Human
social
nature.
media. Yeah. But I think if you have a clear plan that fits you, you're not worried as much about everybody else. you're you understand where you're going. So I liken it to if we're all driving to California, right? And we're, Midwest right now. If we're there's many people driving to California right now. They're
Mhm.
taking different ways, they're stopping, they're deciding they want to go here or there for sightseeing, but we're all going to end up in California. However, if we don't know exactly where we're going to go, why we're going there, we'll just stop along the way and then say, oh my gosh, they went down to Colorado or where they went somewhere else. I should go there. They're
Mhm.
talking about this scenic route, but maybe that wasn't really what you wanted. So you have to have this clear vision, and that's really hard to do. It is. I think getting a clear vision is hard, but again, it's it's taking the time to figure out who you want to be, what you're doing, where you want to go, and then how can that plan work for you so you don't have to drag yourself out of bed every morning and you're like, all right, I may not know exactly the how, but I know why I'm doing it and I know where I'm going.
And sometimes is that why, is that always driven financially, or is that the one that maybe risks the biggest failure opportunities?
Yeah, I think the why, we think it's probably financial, right? Like, because we're not working for free for fun,
Hmm.
but it's an emotion. There's something behind that, right? I want more time with my family. I want a vacation home. And so we think it's about money, but I love that, go seven whys deep. And it's really hard once you get to like, if you get to five and you're like, okay, now I'm just asking myself why again. But that's where the magic is, six and then seven. That's the reason. And a lot of times we don't get there. We get to like
Yeah.
one or two whys deep.
Yeah, and then we sometimes probably get in our own way, and then it compounds and then takes a lot longer to get back to where we're going. We're talking with
Mhm.
Stacie Peterson from eXp Realty, a coach, a businesswoman who just has an incredible wealth of knowledge. I call it the wow factor, not just wow, but WOW, words of wisdom. You always throw out some beautiful gems, and that's why I appreciate you spending time with us. Talking about the why. Why are we doing it? And that's hard to maybe look in the mirror. Maybe it's hard
Mhm.
to really be truthful with us. But I think another commonality with top producers or top business women and top businessmen all across the country is that they're truthful with themselves. Like, what can I do? What can't I do? And being acceptable of our weaknesses, because then, as you mentioned earlier, with those two together, we're all different pieces of the puzzle, and we all have strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes they don't mesh, but that doesn't mean that it's a failure, because that means maybe there's something else down the road. How do we
Mhm.
dive into our whys and really reflect on who we are and what we want?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I wish I had like this magic, beautiful answer. But I think it starts with what you said, and it's being very truthful with ourselves. So we may think that we want to make $1 million.
Mhm.
But then our goal is also to work 30 hours a week, pick our kids up from school, or have weekends off. You got to look at, okay, is what I'm wanting, am I able or willing to give what it would take for that? So I think you have to figure out, what do you want? What do you have to do to become that person who does that? So if, a lot of times we are setting income goals, transaction goals, they're easy, right? They're easy to kind of like come off of
Mhm.
our tongue, but you have to determine, who do you have to be in order to make that happen? And then I think that starts to figure out your why, because it becomes really clear. You're like, okay, well, if I'm making $150,000 a year right now, and next year I want to hit 1 million, but I don't have income to spend on lead generation. I don't want to spend hours on the phone. I don't even have a dialer. All these like things that normal real estate agents will do. If I'm not willing to do that, well, then it becomes very clear that I'm not going to make 1 million. So it is the honesty. And then it's figuring out, what does that person, who do I need to become that would make that kind of income or have that kind of lifestyle?
Yeah, and maybe, and you brought up a point there, maybe giving up a few things, like sacrifice to get to where you
Yeah.
want to go. You always have, there's no, I've looked and I've looked. I'm a nerd that
Yeah.
way. I do. I look, and there's nobody who has achieved their ultimate goal without sacrificing something. And so
Yeah.
asking that question, what am I willing to sacrifice? And whether it's time or family time or, whatever it is, there are ways to find a good sacrifice to then get you to where you want to go.
Yeah, for sure.
I
And I
think
think
Dr. Seuss said that,
also,
didn't he? Oh, the
yeah,
places you want to go.
Yes. And tie some emotion to it. So that's a
What do you
big
mean by
one
that?
with, well, when you're trying to figure out, your why and you say, it's my family, of course.
Mm,
Okay, well, great. Are you going to then blame them because you can't do it because of them?
mm,
Like, oh, I can't go out every night because my kids play sports and I need to do that. Or are you going to use that as fuel? So, for instance, I want to pay for my children's college in full. Okay, that's a different why than just saying my family. And that has a lot of attachment to it,
mhm,
right? And you may have some background from your own, like maybe you didn't get help with college, if that's your thing. So you really have to tie emotion to it. And then I think you also have to tie rewards to it. And I don't think as realtors we're very good at that because we're kind of on to the next thing. But if you would say to yourself, let's say you need a new car, okay? If you attached a big goal to that and really stuck to it so that if you don't hit it, you're not getting that car, or you promised you were going on vacation or you're going to go see your parents or something like that,
mhm.
and you tell them, get them involved, right? Like, hey, I'm going to come see you uh, in March, and I actually have a goal attached to it, so get everybody involved. There is no way in heck you're going to tell your parents you're not coming now in March
Hmm.
because you didn't hit your goal. So there's like two types of emotion to it. There's your own emotion of what you're setting, but then also some type of reward that has emotion to it too.
Very cool. The rewards, yeah, I can't think of now that you bring it up. I was thinking back. I'm like, we always are on to the next thing, and we don't take time to,
Mhm.
sit and enjoy maybe what it is, and then reevaluate it too.
Right.
I'm sure looking back as a coach and as a business expert, it's important to look back at what worked and what didn't work, and make those adjustments on the fly too.
Yeah, exactly. There's never a peak to our mountain.
Mm,
We're always like going to the next. And so we don't enjoy that journey. So if you put rewards to it, then you'll start to go, oh yeah, that's right.
make- that
That
makes
was
perfect sense.
hard as heck, but I
Yeah.
did it.
And that kind of goes into a lot of things of just setting boundaries too. And that's come up in other podcasts with agents around the country. Setting boundaries. How do you recommend setting boundaries? Because it is super easy to just go 24/7.
For sure. I think the first thing that you have to do is teach people how to treat you. So if in your email signature or when you talk to people, you're like, I'm here 24/7, let me know anything you need. And then you don't answer at 7 p.m. on a Saturday night. Well, they're disappointed, they're upset, they're who knows, right? Or they move on to another agent
Hmm.
because they don't believe you, right? So you have to teach people how to treat you, including yourself. So if you say you're done with work today because you laid out the plan, I always like to say, your past self set the plan. So your future self doesn't get to dictate if you do it or not that day. So,
Hmm.
meaning if you put your plan together, let's say Friday or Sunday afternoon, even, and you set it out this week, okay, at this time I'm doing this, or maybe you're just a checklist person, you don't break it down to time, okay. But if you get to Friday and you have this huge to do list yet, you let your future self dictate whether you felt like doing it when your past self took all that time to plan for that future self. So you don't get to like dictate in the moment how you feel. You have to do it anyway. And so that's a really big one, I think, and one
That's
we all struggle with.
Yeah, and across all platforms of our life too. That every
Mhm.
other thing that we have, not just our work life, but every part of life, that's a huge one. And if you're not, man, I love what you said there. This could be a whole nother podcast on that. But if you're not in the moment, you talked about your past self and your future self. The one thing we can control is the right now
Right.
in the moment.
Exactly.
That's the only thing we
Yep.
can.
Yep. And no person that was successful ever said, "Oh yeah, I winged it. It was
Yeah.
awesome." No, even for our kids, these TikTok stars and YouTube stars, they're not winging it. They make it look easy, because they show up and they're like gaming or they're selling stuff, but there's
Okay.
a plan behind, there's a true business, right? The Kardashians, I don't watch them, but I'm fascinated by their business acumen. Actually, the mom, I think, probably her
Mm-hmm.
business acumen. Same with Martha Stewart. Yes, I like the things she creates and that, but understanding her business acumen is unbelievable. She has a great master class, by the way. It is really good.
Ooh, I have to look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm actually, as I don't know, have gotten older. I'll just put it that way.
I
Maybe
know.
wiser, hopefully wiser too. But have read more about Martha Stewart, and she branches out to, I mean, she brings in Snoop Dogg now, and she knows how to tie into
Yeah.
different, different cultures, different people, different energy that just maximizes all that she does.
Yeah.
Uh, that, boy, that's an incredible point too. Again, talking with Stacie Peterson from eXp Realty about a lot of things. And really talk about Martha Stewart or the others you just mentioned, they do have systems in place, and
Hmm.
or one specific system maybe to start and then other systems in place. What have you seen evolve in your decades of being in the real estate industry with systems, both the good and maybe the ones that you have to be careful about?
Well, I think I could sum it up easily by saying the simple system wins. And so the simple system is executable. Some people's simple system is going to be less things because they only have themselves and they don't have a big team. Other teams' simple systems will have more steps, but it's simple for them, simple to be carried out. I think the best system, and I use this example a lot, is if I walked into your office and I couldn't pull up exactly how to do this system, what to do, what to say, when to carry it out, who I need to notify, everything, then it's not a system. It's actually you're hoping the outcome will happen. And you start to get good at that when you have other people run your systems for you, right? If you run it, you kind of skip a few things, and
Mm-hmm.
we all do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have an admin running a system for you and you're like, why does this keep happening? Why does this ball keep getting dropped? Look at the process, not the people. So you want to look at the system, the process first. And my guess is A, it's too complicated, or B, it's complicated because there's too many gaps. And so there's too many what ifs could happen. And to me, that's not a system. A system is a 5-year old, if they had business
Mm-hmm.
acumen, could read, come in, and do that system. So systems that fail, you know what? Systems that fail generally are a whole bunch of people's ideas that you're listening to at once because you're like, oh, I'm going to listen to that one. Oh my gosh, this was the best idea. Oh, I'm going to do that one. This coach said this one. You got to like shut off the noise. Who are you listening to? Pick the coach that's done the thing you want to do, that's actually done it and can help you get there and has proven they've helped others get there. And then put the blinders on to everything else and then create your system out of theirs instead of
Mm-hmm.
piecemealing, because that's just a recipe. You can almost pick it out. A good example is Peloton versus Beachbody. When
Mm-hmm.
Peloton first came out, they were just bikes. You could log on to your bike and you'd have minimal choices, tons of instructors, but like, do you want 30 minutes? Do you want it easy? Right? You logged on to Beachbody, which is now called Body right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, they're trying to sell you shakes, they're trying to sell you a nutrition program, they're trying to sell you weights. Oh, this guy's launching. Oh, and you're like, I don't even know where to start. Don't be that. Be the Peloton or the simple system for yourself and your clients.
I think that's like three or four times now that you've mentioned, you bring it back to yourself, you as the agent in this case. What works for you, because you can bring in, you can pull up, and markets dictate really how much potential there is in as far as financially. Every
Mhm.
market is different, but you can pull from 15 different sources, but those things work for them. How are you going to make it work for you? Customize it for
Yeah.
yourself. Is that what you're saying?
For sure. One of my favorite things to coach on is a framework. So, how a framework differs from a system is a lot of times we think we want from a coach, um, give me the A to Z, just tell me how to do it and I'll do it. But what happens? They give us the A to S, and we're like, well, I don't like that piece of it. And that's not how I would sound, or I don't have that kind of properties listed or whatever. And so we start to like tweak some stuff, but we just like probably tweaked how the whole system is going to work. We're not going to get there.
Hmm.
So if a coach can teach you a framework, they're teaching you how to fish. They're teaching you how to think about it instead of just giving you all the answers. And to me, that's the best type of coaching because you're helping them understand how to get to a result. And then you can talk through all the little hows and what's in between, but that you have this, you know, framework that you can plug anything into, or that type of thing into, like listings. There should be a listing framework. Okay, if I need more listing leads, I'm going to punch this into my framework, just like a
Hmm.
software system. I'm going to punch this in and it's going to tell me how I can get business from it. And I know how to think through that. I think that's the best kind of coaching.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, you have me really fired up now. Well, not only just because you brought up fishing in there and I love to fly fish, but it's true because it helps you become accountable. And then
Yeah,
that ownership piece, when it is yours, instead of the do it for me button that I think the majority want, but when you have that ownership and then you have that accountability, then all of a sudden your shoulders start lifting up, you have more
yeah,
confidence, you aren't afraid to try something, and it's okay to fail. It's actually important to fail. And
definitely.
you can take it to that whole new level. Before we get into the realtor rapid fire round to finish things out and just learn a little bit more about you, what advice do you have for new agents?
Mm.
Because the numbers are starting to drop a little bit, NAR and a couple other things maybe came into play, the market just by itself, but there's enough business out there for everybody. But what advice would you give to new agents or maybe even seasoned who need that refresher a little bit?
Yeah, I think I've been saying this a lot lately since I heard the statistic that we are actually 67% of inventory levels pre-pandemic. So we only have 67% of pre-pandemic levels for
Hmm.
inventory. So if you're feeling discouraged, let's give it a name. It's a transaction recession, okay? And so number one, don't feel bad. Don't feel like you suck. You know,
Hmm.
you need to quit. Maybe you're going to have to find some income to bridge the gap. That could be. And there's no shame around that.
Sure.
So if you're a new or existing agent, my suggestion is right now, build your brand. You are a brand. You have to build that so people want to do business with you. When you're networking, whether you think it or not, you're putting a brand out there. So be
Mm.
the best brand you can be and put in the time right now because you have some time. It's generally a little slower over the holidays, but also a lot of realtors take breaks. So it's a good
Mhm.
time for you maybe to get some market share, but really understand how you can build your business so it increases in transactions for next year. And there's many ways to do it. So again, you got to find your best fit, but yeah, don't stay discouraged and get out there and build your brand.
I like that a lot. Build your brand, and Stacie's email is here on the screen, and we'll do more contact information in a bit. Great advice. I love that. That is so awesome. So now, all right, Stacie, buckle up. We're gonna go on a realtor rapid fire round,
All
and we'll
right.
see what comes with it.
Okay.
But they'll be. You've already tossed out a bunch of great gems, and I know there'll be more. But let's start out. Your morning routine, is it coffee, tea, or lemonade?
Coffee.
Coffee?
Coffee.
Any
Mhm.
particular kind?
So I use a mocha pot. So look that up, super fun. And then I use bulletproof coffee in my mocha pot.
And without it, what happens?
I'm like, crap. Why do I feel so tired?
Your favorite part of what you do?
Getting to okay, this is sorry, a little slower rapid fire answer. The
That's okay.
reason I became a coach was because I wanted their children or the people around them to say, "Man, I am so glad you were in real estate. Look at all the things that we got to do. You were at all my games." Instead of a lot of times what the answer is, mom or dad is always working. And so
Mm.
I forgot even what your question was. What was your
Just
question
the
about
favorite
it?
part of what you do.
Oh, yeah. So it is helping people
Yeah.
realize they can build a business that they want to and helping them do it.
And it's 101% possible.
Hmm.
It is. It
Yeah,
is.
it is.
I love all that because especially when it ties into family. I mean, we're all driven by family. It just,
Yeah,
you can't peel the layers off the onion and not discover that in there anywhere.
that's right.
What is your, and you are a wizard. You share with us a lot of things in the network and tools, but what is your go-to productivity tool?
I mean, I live and die by my calendar, but Notion is my new favorite. So I've been
Notion.
using Notion, yep, for a couple months, completely addicted. I love it.
What is it? What
It
is it?
so basically Notion is like a board where you can put to-do lists, you can put me and my team will track, our projects in there and we can communicate easily. It has a calendar attached. It's sort of like Trello. You can make it into a
Mhm.
Kanban board, or you can just have it a sort of more visually appealing, but I think it's so much easier to use. I just love it.
Notion. All right, get Notion. And
Notion.
it's an app.
It's an app, yep, and you can use it right on your computer too, on your phone, everywhere.
And it has that accountability piece built in, it sounds like, because you're
Yeah, you kind of create that for yourself, but
mhm.
if you're a person that's like, "Oh, where's this? Where's that? Ah, what was that project? What are my goals?" Notion's for you. Put it all in there.
Okay. Favorite saying that you have or poster or print?
Oh man, gosh, so many. But I love this one. So this was painted, but it says it's Colossians 3:23 and it says whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as though you were working for the Lord and not for people. So, that's my favorite.
Great one. Very great
Yeah.
one. I like that. Best book or audiobook that you have that is your go-to or that you recommend the most?
The first one that I used to recommend all the time, and I haven't read it lately, but it is my favorite book. It's called Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes.
Hmm,
Love that book. And then my newest favorite that I'm on my third time reading now is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell.
great book. I agree with
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
love it.
Okay. What is your when you set boundaries or talking about that, but what is your best way to unwind? What do you do? What's your go-to? Other than a glass of wine.
Yeah. No, I don't drink.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I I actually like to watch like Hallmark or funny TV, like what I consider funny, sort of dry humor. Love Seinfeld.
I was
I'll
just going
watch
to say
old
Seinfeld.
episodes.
Yep.
Uh-huh. I almost don't watch it anymore. I just like it. Like I like hearing that funny stuff in the background. So that's probably my wind down and hanging out with my family.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important too. And I know you travel a
Yeah.
lot for sports and different events and all kinds of
Yeah.
things that you have going on. What piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
Mm. You're doing better than you think you are.
Hmm, powerful. I like it.
Yeah.
You can't say more than that. And finally,
No.
what goals do you have for the 2025?
I'm launching a new coaching program, so I'm excited to see the people that I get to meet inside the program. So that's like the one thing I'm really looking forward to.
I can tell. And how can people get information on that?
Yeah, you can find me on social. That's my social at this is Stacie Peterson. So you can find me there. Otherwise, you can always and you can direct message me. That's probably the easiest thing.
Okay, DM you and do all that. All right. And
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have more information in the description here to reach out to you. Stacie, I appreciate you. I'd love that your ultimate goal is about serving others.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
thank
awesome.
you so much. This was amazing. It was fun to talk with you, and I know we have so many similarities in coaching, so it's always fun to talk with you.